this character arc that WWE has Liv Morgan on is really, really interesting. In fact, I think it could be the best character work of her career. So let's just go back to what happened on Monday Night Raw. We had a fatal four-way match to determine who moves on to the next round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. And this match consisted of Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Kairi Sane. Now, this match right here was a whole lot of fun, and I love the fact that WWE on the main roster is pushing Roxanne Perez to be the star that she is. And also, anytime that I get to see Kairi Sane in the ring, I love it. She is a phenomenal wrestler. What she contributed to the black and gold era of NXT was phenomenal as well. And what more can I say about Liv and Rhea Ripley that their fan bases isn't saying every single day of the week, okay? But the interesting thing that happened in this match was when Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan decided to turn into the Ice Climbers and team up, join forces to fight the other two women in the matches. And the reason why this is interesting is because we know how Liv Morgan feels about the presence of Roxanne Perez. For one, she doesn't care too much about her being a part of the Judgment Day. The other thing is, she's paranoid in thinking that Finn Balor and her are conspiring some things, which makes sense because we've seen him and Roxanne talk backstage multiple times off the camera. So she's a little bit paranoid about that as well. And ultimately, this is the worst violation of them all. For Roxanne Perez to bring a box of chicken nuggets for Dominic Mysterio, his favorite meal ever. And if they're from Chick-fil-A, that is a ultimate violation right there. Trying to win the man's heart over by his stomach. But I think she innocently was just trying to be nice. But obviously, giving another person's man his favorite meal, that could be seen a certain way. So I think at this point in time, as we saw, Liv Morgan is on this paranoid situation because she's starting to question their loyalty to her and her position in the group, because I believe she's starting to have flashbacks to when she first came around to Judgment Day and how they were treating her and how they were treating Rhea Ripley before Liv was in and then Rhea Ripley was out. Now they're treating Roxanne Perez how they treated Liv when she first got there, and they're starting to treat Liv Morgan a little bit, at least in her mind, how they were treating Rhea Ripley before Rhea Ripley was out of the group. So she's getting paranoid about that whole situation. But back to the match. The ending was unpredictable. I think a lot of people assumed that Rhea Ripley or Liv Morgan was going to win this match, but surprisingly enough, Roxanne Perez won this match, and this was a crazy situation because we saw what happened backstage where Judgment Day was celebrating Roxanne Perez's win, and Liv Morgan walks in and says, "Hey, what are you guys celebrating?" Right? And you would think that someone that you want to be a part of the group, you would celebrate their win. But again, Liv Morgan doesn't really want Roxanne Perez there. It makes her feel uncomfortable. It makes her feel a little insecure about the whole situation. And I kind of get where she's coming from, because it's like, if you're going to celebrate this person winning, you got to remember that means I lost too. But then there's the other side of it, like, why won't you just support somebody who's a part of the Judgment Day? But again, Liv Morgan had no say-so about Roxanne Perez being anywhere around the group, so that can also cause problems as well. Then we saw something else happen later on the night, where Nikki Bella came out to the center of the ring to pretty much say, hey, you know, I want to celebrate all the women wrestlers right now. Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Stephanie Vacqua. Vacque, I think that's what she said. Vaquisha or something. Vacque. Yeah, it was Vacque. Which was crazy, but in her defense, she probably pronounced it in a way where she thinks, you know, someone would say in a French accent, because I believe Vaquer, it does come from French, so I think she tried to pronounce it that way. People from France or from, you know, descendants of French, like, let me know. I don't know. I'm uneducated about that whole thing. Maybe she did say it wrong. But ultimately, Liv Morgan comes out because she wasn't mentioned in the list of women that Nikki Bella mentioned, which makes sense because Liv Morgan had one of the biggest years of her career last year. She won Crown Jewel. She was women's champion. She had tag team championships. Even currently she does. She done a lot of things. So for her to be left out, I get it. So Liv Morgan comes out and she tells Nikki Bella, like, why didn't you mention me? I carried this division on my back. I was on the forefront of this division. I won multiple championships. And she has a point. She did a lot of stuff in the past years that you cannot just ignore like that. So Nikki Bella and her, they have a back and forth, and Liv Morgan gives one of her most scathing, promos, scathing like they like to say it in Newsweek and all these articles, where she told Nikki Bella, at least I have a man, which refers to Nikki Bella's situation with Artemis. I'm not going to talk about that. You guys can look it up and have your own opinions about that. And the other thing that Liv Morgan said is that you're nothing more than just a reality star, which some people kind of feel that way about her, but that's neither here nor there. But I thought it was a great promo from Liv Morgan, and ultimately she hits Nikki Bella with the Oblivion, leaving her into the center of the ring, and Liv Morgan walks away. Which this is the Liv Morgan that I love. She's starting to spiral out. She's starting to crash out. She's getting paranoid. She's feel like she's being disrespected. This is going to be the best character work of her career. She's going by what Leo called Liv Morgan's #1 fan calls the Drew McIntyre effect. She's going to be the Drew McIntyre of the women's division, where she's crashing out, where she's feel like she's being done wrong, she's talked about wrong, and she kind of is if you think about that. Now, this is why I say that this is going to be the most interesting character work of her career, because a lot of people would contribute that to the love triangle between her, Rhea Ripley, and Dominic Mysterio, which honestly, that did propel her career to the next level. But in that situation, you know, although she added a whole lot, like she contributed a lot to make the storyline interesting, she needed Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio to really be there to make that whole thing work. But this time around, this is just Liv Morgan and solely Liv Morgan having this situation. And this is going to be very, very interesting where they go with this. It's going to be very interesting how this is going to affect the Judgment Day, how this is going to affect her character in the future. Will she later on be like, hey, you know, Rhea Ripley's going to look at her like, hey, you did the same thing to me. Now you're going through it. How would Rhea Ripley react to that? Will she help Liv Morgan out once Liv Morgan gets kicked out of the group? Will Rhea Ripley, would they apologize to each other? Will Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio, you know, realize that they've all wronged each other in different ways? You know, obviously Dominic Mysterio leaving Rhea Ripley and, you know, going for Liv Morgan, or maybe how Dominic Mysterio is talking to Roxanne Perez and making Liv feel the way she feels. Rhea Ripley on her end, how she treated Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan for what she did to Rhea Ripley. Maybe they all would come out on the same page at one point or another at the end. That would be a great ending. But for right now, for what it is, before I get too ahead of myself, what they're doing with Liv Morgan is going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how they develop this whole thing, what they're going to do next. But what do you guys think? Do you think this could possibly be the best character work of her career? Let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear what you have to say. Salute, peace, have a great day.